we are looking at some very, very dramatic images that are coming to us today for the last few hours, all from different parts of Afghanistan. In fact, these images right now on your screens are coming in from Kabul, and these are scores of women. I mean, if you just begin to count, you will realize that there are hundreds and thousands of them right now who are protesting against Pakistan. We've also seen very sporadic protests outside the Pakistan embassy earlier in Kabul. Let's quickly listen in also to what these protesters are saying. So very, very dramatic images of protests that are coming in right now from different parts of Afghanistan. Colonel Dinesh Nair also joining us on the broadcast. Colonel Saab, a very good evening to you. How do you, read into these protests that have broken out sporadically today in different parts of Afghanistan, particularly in Kabul? A lot of them, sir, outside the Pak embassy. And we only see women on the streets, in spite of the Taliban, firing at them, the Taliban holding their gun, but these women standing tall in front of them.
See, one has to understand that the Afghanistan people, especially the ladies and the girls, are of 21st century now. Taliban is trying to treat them like what they did in 1996 to 2001. And this agitation which has started, I don't think so that educated people and those who are doing jobs, studying in colleges or have undergone very good education, they are going to give up. And as far as Taliban is concerned, well, we all know they say something, they do something else. Whatever their bosses are saying from the council sitting in Kabul, their lower ranks probably don't even know that what their bosses are talking. So it is the lower rank people which are working on ground, the field commanders, all these guys are trying to behave the same manner as Taliban was doing from 1995 to 2001.
I think, Colonel Saab, you do make that big point. And if you just allow me, this is one new video that Republic has been able to access that is playing out on our screens right now. So I just want to take a moment, Colonel Saab, with your permission to talk about these images, because this is the moment where you see the Taliban terrorists wielding those guns, wielding those weapons, who come face to face with these protesters. But there is absolutely not even a bit of fear that you see on these women's faces, who continue to stand there in spite of these men, wielding the gun. But where is the world? Why is the world not taking cognizance of what's happening right now in Afghanistan?
Well, you rightly said that the world is just watching. In fact, Taliban, what I personally feel, is trying to divide the world. They have invited Iran, they have invited Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Russia, China, and Pakistan. And let's not call it Taliban only. What I see is a proxy war, it's an intrusion by Pakistan And the Haqqani
Totally.
group, which is trained by Pakistan, are the people who are doing all these atrocities in Kabul. And as far as the fear factor, as you mentioned about the crowd and about the Afghan ladies is concerned, well, we all know if they don't face them, as it is, they are going to face a very terrible time. So it's better, they have decided, it's better to die while fighting with them than to, give up for their atrocities.
But Colonel Sab, I think the voices of these women will be heard loud and strong by the world. I mean, the world will have to take a note of that. Thank you so much for speaking to us, because the world owes it to the thousands of these women who've chosen to stay in Afghanistan, who've chosen right now to confront the Taliban, and all those, a lot of them also who do not have any choice but to stay. And right now, to be able to use all the leverage that they can to ensure that Afghanistan does not go back to the dark days. Republic, again, remember, has been the only global media channel right now that is reporting on these protests against the Taliban, that has been getting you live coverage coming in from different parts of Kabul. Let's play out one more exclusive report.
As Taliban say, the chief of ISI came to Kabul to discuss business with Taliban, but some people that the reason of his arriving to Kabul and the conflict of Taliban leaders over leadership. So this is the reason they want to protest. Ghulam Post, Republic TV, Kabul, Afghanistan. As Taliban say, the chief of ISI came to Kabul to discuss business with Taliban, but some people that the reason of his arriving to Kabul and the conflict of Taliban leaders over leadership. So this is the reason they want to protest. Ghulam Post, Republic TV, Kabul, Afghanistan. Hello everyone, you are watching Republic TV from Kabul, Afghanistan. As you know, that Zabihullah Mujahid, spokesperson of Taliban, announced that the Taliban has now captured Panjshir province completely and killed some of Panjshir resistance leaders, including Fahim Dashti, the spokesperson of Panjshir resistance fighter. Soon after, Ahmad Masood, the leader of Northern Alliance's viral video, and started that he wants all Afghans must stand against Taliban in the whole country and take the country back from the Taliban in the hands of Taliban. Resistance fighters claimed that yesterday they took down one fighter, a jet of Pakistan country, which was targeting the Panjshir resistance fighters. In the morning in Kabul, some people protested against Pakistan country, and soon Taliban came and fired in the air to stop the protest. The Taliban have also arrested some protesters and told them to not come outside of their home due to security reasons.
So that is that very, very dramatic video that we have seen, we have heard. You hear the gunshots being fired very, very clearly. Also the women there confronting the Taliban and making them turn away for that bit of moment where this protest was happening. Let me also get in Shabir Baher, who's a political analyst who joins us on the broadcast right now. Shabir, a very good evening to you. I'm told that you're speaking to us from the US. Why don't you tell me that is this an image that the US can choose to ignore? Pakistan literally invades Afghanistan. There is no business of Pakistan to be, meddling into the affairs of Afghanistan, but it does that. Then you have these women groups coming out in huge numbers, Shabir, today, protesting against Pakistan, protesting against the Taliban. Can the US choose to look away, Shabir?
Once again, I would like to applaud and support the uprising in Afghanistan. We don't have only in Kabul the rally going on against the Taliban, and as far as you know, that the crowd shouting "Death to Pakistan" and "Death to the slave of Pakistan," supporting the uprising and the resistance in Panjshir, who was fighting against the Taliban. And also, I believe that the United States and all our allies, specifically India, should need an immediate action. And I am sure that the Taliban cannot resist against people. And you see that the majority of the crowd were shouting in the street of Kabul, in major city in Afghanistan like Kabul, as far as I know, Mazar Sharif, as far as I know, in Daikundi, which is the central city in Afghanistan. Population is over 200,000, and majority of them were Hazara. They came to the street and shouting. I'm been talking with so many people in Afghanistan. We had so many discussion about this. And I hope, hopefully, anyone from any corner of the world would support them, would be appreciated. Sure.
Absolutely. You know, Shabir, I echo that sentiment. But the point is that still you're looking at a lot of Western countries choosing to even ignore to talk about these protests, Shabir. Leave aside the fact that you will see them doing anything for these local people. But I request you to hold that phone line if possible, because I also want to say good evening and get in to this conversation. Ghulam Jilani Zwak, who's the Director General of the Kabul News Television, who's also joining us on the broadcast. Ghulam Saab, you're speaking to us from Kabul, sir. First up, why don't you tell me what is the latest? Why don't you tell us more about these protests, you know, that we have seen, these demonstrations all against Pakistan and the Taliban today?
Yeah, as you know, that Taliban are supported by Pakistan, and their sanctuaries were in Pakistan, and now they are coming to Afghanistan and ruling in Afghanistan. They still have the support of Pakistan. And this time, when Taliban attacked Panjshir and conquered Panjshir and entered to the Panjshir, the Hamid Gul is in Kabul. So this is why it provoked the people, and it's that they came to the roads and shout the slogan against Pakistan. The slogan against Pakistan is, in fact, slogan against Taliban. The people think that Taliban are doing the support of Pakistan all these things. So this was the anger of people against Taliban and against Pakistan. And same time, this is not in reaction of the issue of Panjshir. This is also for the basic right of the people. As Taliban came to Afghanistan, and people of Afghanistan have an experience of Taliban before. So they are worried about their basic rights. Like freedom of speech, like freedom of political activities and other things, and several freedom. So these protests are, in fact, for the basic rights of people of Afghanistan, and this is why the slogan is, we want freedom. It's the freedom of speech, it's the freedom of political activities.
Oh, yes, Ghulam Saab, we heard a lot of these women actually saying Azadi, Azadi. You know, this is one of the slogans that has echoed, sir. And there is also one more video, sir, that has been accessed by Republic, where you literally see these women, you know, a bunch of about 4 women who almost come face to face with these Taliban terrorists. These are terrorists who are holding a gun. They try to threaten these women. They try to tell them go back. But then there is a bit of altercation that happens between them, and the women actually force these terrorists to turn back. So is this now the new face of the local Afghans, particularly women who have suffered a raw deal in the last time? Also, you know, you've seen the Taliban coming over. And why is the world media quiet about these protests?
Well, yes, this is the big question, not why the world media is right about these protests. In fact, this is a part of a big game that United States policies itself paved the way for the Taliban to come to Afghanistan. If you have the report, and I'm sure you have the report, that most of Afghan army, without any fight with Taliban, hand over their station to the Taliban. So the world, the behavior of the world is a big question mark in Afghan people. And also in the world, people are thinking that really the Western world, America, is loyal to the basic right of the people for the freedom of the speech and other things who they are claiming or not. By supporting of these power, Taliban came to Afghanistan. By signing a deal with Taliban, they paved the way for the Taliban in Afghanistan. So if Western media is right about these slogans, I think people of Afghanistan understand why this is.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, many of you would say that this is not the same Afghanistan that was in the year 1996, 2001. And these are people who are willing to fight for their rights. They've chosen to stay in Afghanistan. They know the price that they will have to pay. And they are willing to come and confront the Taliban, quite literally. Ghulam Saab, thank you so much for speaking to us. We look forward to connecting with you later also as the story only gets bigger. Thank you also to Shabir Beher, who was speaking to us from the US. And do remember, these very, very dramatic videos, again, accessed by Republic, tell you that the locals, especially the women, are willing to take the Taliban head on.